Okay, this is the second book I've received. Now, this is called Secrets of Astrology, Planets, Signs, Aspects, and Sojourns. Insights into the Charts of Edgar Cayce, Jesus Christ, Presidents, Nations, and World Events by Kirk Nelson. Now, that's the whole reason. Most of you even know me, period, is through Santos Bonacci. And the main thing that attracted me to him was his charts and how he told all the stories just by the charts. One thing I know that hasn't changed in all these languages is the zodiac. Now, yes, I do love the Urantia book, and it's just mind-blowing, that information. But now, a point in my life, Edgar Cayce crossed my path. And Edgar Cayce, well, we won't get into all that, but I have a book coming that says Edgar Cayce was AKA the sleeping prophet. And there's also how the Urantia book came about is by a sleeping something. I can't remember what they called it. He wasn't a sleeping prophet, but he was a sleeping something. But it's just coincidental that Edgar Cayce was doing this the exact same time. And Edgar Cayce has over 20,000 readings, 14,306 of them documented in his library in Virginia Beach. So anyway, this is going to be a short video, but I wanted to keep you guys updated with this Edgar Cayce thing, because to me, he has all the answers to any question I ever asked to complete detail. So I'm just going to read what you're going to want this book definitely if you like anything to do with astrology. So I don't think I want to start this far back. Hold on, let me get to where we're going. So this is chapter 2, where I'll start, Cayce's view on astrology. Edgar Cayce's view on astrology is based on the concept of reincarnation. He felt that it was not the positions of the planets that influence the soul at birth, but that the soul chooses the time in which it wishes to be born. Most of us, according to Cayce, have had lives before this one, and we bring with us talents, abilities, and influences from those past lives. These influences, part of the law of cause and effect, because remember, that started my whole journey with these spiritual laws, are called karma in Sanskrit. Cayce also tells us that not only have we had previous lives, but that the soul has a life outside the physical world between lifetimes. So, and I read you guys some of that in the first book of reincarnation. When we pass through, so we come through one door when we're birthed into this physical body. And then we pass through another door when our soul shed this meat stick. And while we are waiting to incarnate back into the meat sticks, we have an actual life outside the physical world between lifetimes. During these interim periods, the soul experiences levels of consciousness that correspond to the vibratory levels of the different planets. Cayce referred to these interim lifetime experiences as planetary sojourns. Because we have had experiences with the vibrations of the different planets between lifetimes, the planets have an internal influence on us when we reincarnate into the earth plane. These influences of the planets are felt by us in the forms of urges, inclinations, and tendencies. However, Cayce says no influence is greater than the human will and the choices we make in our lives every day. Several readings provide us with details on Cayce's view. So I'll just read just a little teeny bit just about, this is in dark bold, so I'm assuming this is one of his readings. Astronomy is considered a science, and astrology is foolishness. Who is correct? One holds that because of the position of the earth, the sun, the planets, they are balanced one with another in some manner, some form. Yet they have nothing to do with man's life or the expanse of life or the emotions of the physical being in the earth. Then why and how do the effects of the sun so influence other life in the earth and not affect man's life, man's emotions? As the sun has been set as the ruler of this solar system, does it not appear to be reasonable that it has an effect upon the inhabitants of the earth as well as upon plant and mineral life in the earth? Then if not, why? How did the ancients worship the sun as the representative of a continuous, benevolent, and beneficent influence upon the life of the individual? Thus, as we find given, the sun and the moon and the stars were made also. This being the attempt of the writer to convey to the individual the realization that there is an influence in their activity. For, remember, they, the sun, the moon, the planets, have their marching orders from the divine, and they move insane. Man alone is given that birthright of free will. He alone may defy his God. We are all co-creators with God, and our free will is the birthright that makes us creators. As such, in our world and in our lives, we have to choose to create good or evil. So that was just one page. The beginning of chapter 2, Casey's view on astrology. So are you even understanding what I think I just understood? That's what the planets mean to us, because when we left the meat stick, we still had lives outside of the physical world between our lifetimes. During these interim periods, the soul experiences levels of consciousness that correspond to the vibratory levels of the different planets. Now, if you ever printed out your birth chart, you can go to astrothemes.com and print out your birth chart and see what degree, what was where, your sun's, just everything. The rising and ascendants, just everything. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Santos will pick up his birth chart, show it, presentations again, so we can get to the meat and potatoes, because we just got the introduction and then it stopped. So he told me maybe the end of April or May, he will pick it back up. So fingers crossed, and text Santos and tell him, get the ball back rolling with astrology. We get it, vegan, flat earth, but let's talk astrology. That affects all of us. So anyway, I'm gone for now, not forever. I just had to share that because I just couldn't even believe the first pages. So anyway, chat later.